focused on the breakouts, they're more focused on the charts, they're more focused on their indicators, and then they forget that their brain is a huge part of that closed loop, pilot in the loop type thing, where you have to make sure that your mind is healthy and thinking about the right things at the right time and making the right decisions. Otherwise, you can make mistakes really easily, and you just keep getting like errors, like you would in baseball, right? And you keep running errors more than you're getting runs batted in, and you start to make mistakes, and you're wondering why. Hey, I think I have a good system, but I can't execute it properly. So that to me is the biggest problem. It's like, I had problems with breakouts, and I solved that. Then I had problems with selling, then I solved that. Then I had problems with progressive exposure, then I solved that with my friend that helped me set up the service. And then now it's like the last thing is like, how do I get my mind to execute that on a reliable basis? That's kind of like how I feel about how mindset can be powerful to trading, at least from what I've learned so far.
Yeah, totally. Couldn't agree with you more there. Mindset is something that's interwoven into all aspects of trading, and something that kind of dawned on me a while back too is that everything's kind of interwoven together, and like I kind of think of it like a wheel, and we'll get into this a bit later in the presentation. But if we think of trading like a wheel and all the different skill sets that are related to trading like a wheel, at the center, the axle that holds all of it together is mindset. So all the different skill sets, analysis, trade management, position sizing, all of it is all held together by mindset and how we think about different kinds of things. And so mindset is far greater. A lot of people tend to think that mindset is like a positive thinking, but it's far more than positive thinking. Mindset is, get this slide deck going here. Mindset is your key to more money, greater confidence, and less stress. So let's jump into things. First, I'll share a little bit about who I am. My name is Mike Lamothe. Mike Mastillo mentioned that we've known each other now for quite a while. I've been doing this for a while. I've been trading now for 25 years, roughly, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster. The first 10 were a nightmare, and part of the reason why I do what I do and who I am and what I'm trying to do is I want to help traders have an easier time than I did. I want to help traders trade fearlessly. I want to help traders make more money. I want to help traders have less stress while they're trading. And I want to help you get the results that you want. And everybody has different results that they're after. Some people want more time. Some people want more freedom. Some people want to be able to day trade. At the end of the day, the results that we want out of trading is we want to be profitable. And that's going to look different for one person versus another person. But at the end of the day, everybody is trading because we want to make money. That's the objective. So Why am I helping? Why am I bothering to do all this if I've been doing this for a while? The reason why, like I mentioned at the beginning, is that I struggled for the first 10 years of trying to do this, and I had a completely broken mindset, which we'll discuss a little bit. And part of that. Part of the problem wasn't just a broken mindset, negative beliefs about trading, negative beliefs about money, other things that are tied into all that, but a general lack of awareness of all this stuff that was going on in my head. So when you think that you're doing the right things, but you're actually unaware, it's almost like, let's say you wanted to see a sunrise, but you thought that the way to see a sunrise is to face west. You're never going to see a sunrise because you are completely unaware of what you need to do to see that sunrise. So that was part of it. In fact, the only reason why I was able to finally overcome any of this was a refusal to quit. right? And um, that was really the thing that after so many years of trying and failing, just having that in me of wanting to see just stubbornness. Sometimes you could have a certain quality that can be a positive. Sometimes it could be a negative. Yeah, I tend to judge things not by uh, labeling them in that way, but just what kind of result does it produce. So in this case, stubbornness and a refusal to quit, while facing the wrong way to see a sunrise, caused me to struggle for 10 years. Continuing to persevere beyond that, finally accept help, is what got me to turn around and start to see, to face the right way.
Right. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
So the idea is to help shortcut your path. And so what I'm going to do here is to give you an outline of how you can shortcut your path. So if you don't already, grab a pen and something to write on. We're going to go through a few things here. Step one, figure out your goals. Is trading for you? And if it is, then you'll be able to continue. I assume that everybody in this room believes that trading is for you, but why is it for you? That's a very important question to figure out, right? So we already said that the goal of trading, at the end of the day, the goal of trading is we want to make money with trading, right? If we don't want, if it's a hobby that you want to just treat it like a game, and you don't really care if you make money or not, then that's great. It's good for you to understand that. Then you have like a different set of goals. But what is your goal with trading? And if it is to make money, then is trading the right avenue for you? Because there's lots of ways to make money. Why trading? Why trading?
I think it offers freedom for me, right? Because some people are sick of the office. Some people are sick of their day job. They just want to be able to work on their own and not have a boss, right? And have that
Those things are true. Yeah, that's true. Trading does offer those benefits, but why? That are there other things that you could do? Like trading, understanding the journey and what's involved in trading, I think is important as well, right? Like, so if we're going to say, okay, I want freedom. I want freedom to be able to do what I want and when I want. I want the freedom to be able to work from wherever. I want to be able to make a lot of money. Okay, trading checks off all those boxes. What's involved in trading? How do I get to become a good trader? Am I willing to do what's necessary to make this a career? To be able to generate the money while working part-time. If I'm working part-time and I'm going to trade on the side, am I willing to do what's necessary to make this work? Right? So is trading for you, and are you willing to make the sacrifices necessary to make it happen? Right? Because if money and freedom are the goals, that's fantastic goals. Mobility, I have those same kind of goals. Is trading the avenue that you want to take to hit those goals? Like, what is it about trading that makes you want to do that? And And then from there, the other things that you could think about too. Well, maybe it is trading. Well, what is it that you want to trade? Do you want to trade stocks? Do you want to trade options? Do you want to trade forex, crypto? There's a lot of different things to trade. There's a lot of different ways to trade. And this is when you could start to think about all the different ways to trade that are out there. A very good book, if you haven't read it, or a book series if you haven't read it yet, is a series called Market Wizards by this guy named Jack Schwager. He interviewed many of the top traders in the world and sat down with them, figured out what they did, how they did it, why they did what they did, and he had these interviews. And so you could read that book series and start to say, oh, I like what this guy did, I like what that guy did, I don't really like what this person is doing. And then from there, be able to find the style that fits you.
Mm-hmm. That's how I found Mark Minervini, exactly. And that's how I started following his style of trading. That's exactly what happened to me. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny, but because it's funny because I'm I follow Mark as well, and it's interesting like how we both kind of find the same path, and well that's probably the reason, one of the reasons why we follow each other and have been following each other on Twitter and all these places for 10 years or so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I saw his article. I was so intrigued by how he was trading, and especially that line where he was hoping to get a terrible fill. I thought that was a really interesting part of the talk. And then when he released that book, I just started. I just ate up everything he said. Like he's kind of like I find he's like the Max Planck of trading. Like he found the atomic way to trade, right? And he kind of broke it down, and that's what inspired me so much to follow him. But he always lacked the mindset part. But then you released that book, and then I used your book, your activity book that you had there. What was the name of it again? It was really good.
The Mara Mindshift Guide.
Right. Yeah. That. So like I read his mindset book, and I had your book, and you had the ability to write things down, and you ask questions and stuff like that. And that was great because it was like almost like a companion thing that really made me think about my trading a lot more. So it really helped me get along to the next level, I think.
Very good. Glad to hear that. So figure out your goals. Next you need to start taking inventory. You need to write the beliefs that you have about trading, right? Well, we'll start there. Write all the beliefs that you have about trading. If trading is for you, next is start laying out all the beliefs that you have about trading. After that, you'll lay out all the beliefs that you have about money. We can even go deeper and start discussing self-belief, self-image, all those kinds of things. But for the sake of this presentation and the limited time that we have together, we'll start with beliefs about trading and write down everything that you could think that are a belief about trading. You literally have hundreds of beliefs about trading. You have a certain indicator that you're using, let's say. Well, that's a belief, right? A belief is one of the simplest ways I could illustrate to think about beliefs is that it's your internal programming, right? So let's say you've got a computer. Right. Well, we're all sitting on a computer right now. The computer has certain software and it's running an operating system. That operating system is our mindset, and each piece of software on that computer is a belief. Right. So the different lines of code are going to tell the computer what to do. If the computer doesn't have the software, then it's not going to be able to run this action. Whatever beliefs you have are what's controlling your actions. So if you are going to take a certain action in a trade, then that's it's based on a belief. The problem that so many of us have, and that I had too for a very long time, and why I struggled for so long, is that we have beliefs that are running in the background that we don't realize that are there. We've just had these beliefs for so long, they're kind of running on autopilot. And so all beliefs, and this is an important point too that's worth noting, all beliefs are there to help you. It's there's some people say that, like, there's negative beliefs, there's positive beliefs, there's empowering beliefs, there's limiting beliefs. Every single belief that we've picked up along the way has meant to serve us in some way, shape, or form. At this stage, we want to just jot down every single belief that we could think of, that in this way that is related to trading. So might be an indicator, it might be something that you took in a course, it might be something that you've learned from Mike and within your DMT program here. Or whatever it is, write out all the beliefs about trading that you could think of. I guarantee that you've got several hundred, if not more. I would challenge you to write down at least 20. Start with 20. But what you'll likely find is that as you're writing out all these different beliefs, and you're like, oh man, like I'm up to 10. I don't know if I could write another more. Then you sit there, you start writing out a bit more. Once you get going, you'll be able to keep going. That's the challenge to you. So write out as many beliefs about trading as you possibly can. I want to tell you a little story about beliefs and about this exercise in particular. It came from a client, and he was a bodybuilder. To protect his identity, we'll call him Bob. Bob the bodybuilder. And Bob wanted to trade, and he went through a boom and bust cycle. Every time that trading would start to get easy for him, he would start to lose money. And then he would, as soon as he would lose the money, he would start to do things the right way, and he would start to make more money trading. And then as soon as his equity curve would hit a new high, he would go through another boom and bust cycle. And this kept on happening, and then Bob reached out to me, and he said, Mike, what's going on? And I asked him to tell me a bit of his story. And so he started to tell me about his family. He had two brothers that he lived with, and his father. His father had passed away, but before his father passed away, he told me that about his childhood, that his father worked I think 3 jobs to help them make ends meet. They always had everything that they needed, but things were tight. And Dad, while he was a really good guy, wasn't always there because he was working to provide for the family. One of the things that led Bob to want to trade, financial freedom, and be able to do it on his own time, things like that. But some of the beliefs that Bob's dad gave him were that money is hard to come by. You have to work hard for money. Hard work pays. Right? Some key beliefs that he had there. And those beliefs helped him quite a bit. It helped him a lot with bodybuilding. Hard work pays. He would he won several competitions. One competition, he told me that he did an 800-pound deadlift, and I'm like, oh wow, shit, that's a lot. That it sounded a lot to me, but yeah. So Bob was telling me the story, and I was like, okay, so you have to work hard for money, and hard work pays, and all these things are good. But what about this? And I asked Bob this question. You been working hard with bodybuilding, right? Yeah, of course. So what were you able to lift a year ago? What was I able to lift a year ago? A year ago, I was able to lift 600 pounds. Great. So tell me, Bob, are you no longer worthy of lifting that 600 pounds? It's like that's a kind of a bizarre question to ask. Of course, I worked hard. I'm able to lift the 600 pounds. That got easy. Now I can lift 800, right? So just like, okay, all right. So let's relate this to trading, right? Because the money's hard to come by, right? You have to work hard for money. You studied trading. Trading got easier. And when you work hard at trading and trading gets easier and you develop the skills, it becomes easier. So you don't need to work as hard for money.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the light bulb started to go off, because he already put in the work. It's like all the work that he did to work up to a 200-pound deadlift, 400-pound, 600-pound, 800-pound. Each time that he keeps on getting stronger, well, now 400 pounds, I could warm up with 400 pounds. But he wasn't putting two and two together for trading because, oh, well, you've got to work hard for money. Well, do you really? Or maybe in the beginning, but after you've made your progress, the game does get easier. And then it just becomes a game of execution.
Right.
Once Bob realized that, he was able to stop self-sabotaging. Because Bob would slack off when he started to get to new equity curve highs because, oh, trading's getting easy. Slack off, stop doing what he was supposed to do, and that would be it. But once he put those two things together, Bob started to have some consistency.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That resonates with me a lot because I'm right now. I think one of my biggest drawbacks is self-sabotage. When I reach a new plateau, it's not just trading, anything in life, that you get to a point where you're doing well and then you find some way to get yourself off, and then it's hard to get out of that again, and you feel kind of stuck and you feel like you're in a cycle, and it's crazy, yeah.
Interesting. So are you? So a couple of things there. Are you able? You are tracking your results, right? A while back, I saw you. Are you still doing that? You had this beautiful spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, I'm still working on it. It's still there. It's almost complete. I'm just killing the bugs, and then I'll be able to even actually give it to my members. So it does everything. It tracks you. You do a trade journal. You have your chart that shows your equity curve. Even tells you what your expectancy is overall, last 10, last 20 trades. So it should tell you everything you need, right?
That's fantastic. So you've got that. Do you have anybody that you are kind of like a buddy system, like or a coach or a mentor, somebody that you're able to bounce ideas off of and share with them, like, oh, like I'm doing this, but I'm hitting trouble here. What do you think?
Oh yeah, he was supposed to come tonight, but he's gonna watch the recording after. His name is Mark Cass. He's a guy that I'm buddies with on Twitter, and we always exchange our successes and failures because he uses Ami Broker too. So we have a common ground there, and he's like a really great guy to bounce things off of for sure.
Ah, very good. All right, so you've got some of the things set up, like you've got an iron sharpens iron partner, if you will.
Right.
Yeah, all these things are very important. Things that helped me later on in my journey once I found the IBD group. That bit of a tangent here, but it's worth sharing because what happened was struggling for 10 years, doing everything on my own. Lot of mistrust and not wanting to trust anybody. Eventually, a friend of mine recommended William O'Neill's book, How to Make Money in Stocks. I found that book. I started going to the local meetups. They had these Investors Business Daily meetups. For anybody that's not familiar with IBD, it's a newspaper, kind of like the Wall Street Journal. Everybody's trading in a very similar way, and yeah, there's a bit of background noise. Sounds like.
Yeah, I muted the noise. Hopefully it's gone now.
No. Oh, there. Let's see. There we go. All right. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, so I finally found the IBD meetup. They had everybody would show up to this local meetup. We're all trading in the same way, and just from being in a group with people all trading in a similar way and actively participating, that's where I was able to see, oh, we're all trading the same system, but this guy trades it a little bit faster. This person is a little bit more intermediate term. This person's a little bit longer term. This person is sizing in a different way. This person is trading part-time. These guys are trading full-time, and we're all doing it in our own way. And from there, just able to say, oh, like I'm able to take this and incorporate it. I'm able to take that and incorporate it. And from there, you're building a structure for how you're going to custom tailor your trading for yourself. Within a year of that, I went from boom bust, not really knowing what the heck I was doing, to finally starting to gain some traction, and then from there, being profitable pretty much, or beating the market anyway, every year for the past, how long has it been? It's been more than 10 years, probably about 12 or 13 since finding that IBD meetup group. Yeah. Then it's just wash, rinse, repeat after that.
Right. So you still run the IBD meetup in New York, or is that still going on?
No, the IBD meetup got shut down after COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, once COVID hit, we tried to bring the group online. It didn't work. It's actually one of the things that started the business that I have now with Mara Wealth. I wanted to bring the group online. We opened it up much wider, and we wanted to bring on other guests. We wanted to trade in a slightly different way that wasn't just strictly Can Slim. Wanted to talk about options and these kinds of things. IBD is very strict with discussing Can Slim and only Can Slim in their way. So it gave us more freedom to break off, and even though have a lot of roots in Can Slim, to be able to have the flexibility to discuss things in our own way. So now started doing that, and yeah, things have grown quite a bit.
Awesome.
Back to this. So step 2, take inventory, write all of your beliefs about trading. Next. Step 3, once you have all of your beliefs written out, the next thing that you're going to want to do is figure out which beliefs are helping you get closer to the goals that you wrote out in step 1, and which ones are keeping you away from the goals that you wrote down in step 1. Again, every single belief is serving you in some way. The way that we're judging the beliefs in this framework is which ones are bringing you closer to your goals, which ones are not bringing you closer to your goals. Any belief that is not bringing you closer to your goals gets on the chopping block. And it's from there that you want to ask of each belief, is this belief serving some other purpose? Is the belief serving some other purpose aside from helping you get closer to the goals that you wrote in step 1? Because if they're not, then the next step is going to be, can you let this belief go? Some beliefs you'll be able to let go very easily. You'll be able to take out the energy within that belief. Well, I had a belief that said that day trading is the best way to make money, and that's actually not leading me closer to my goal, because one of my goals is that, yes, I want to make a lot of money, but I don't want to be in front of the screens during a certain period of time, and that happens to be the best time for day trading. So while it might be a great strategy, it might not be the strategy for me. So I'm taking energy out of that particular belief. Because now I've identified it, I've analyzed it, and now I see that thinking in this one way was not serving my bigger goal, if that makes sense.
Right.
Okay. So some beliefs you'll be able to let go. Some beliefs you might have trouble letting go of. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's an important point because I tried writing my beliefs down before, but they're always like positive ones, right? And I don't realize, and it's hard to think about, hey, what are beliefs that are negative that are affecting me? Or am I just blocking them out so I don't think about them, or it's just a hard exercise to acknowledge what you believe that's actually hurting you. Like, for example, someone who drinks, right? And they want to stop. Like, how can they get to the belief that, hey, I should stop drinking, and then I'll have my relationship with my family will get better, for example. Like that kind of analogy, let's say.
Well, part of it, I think, is that if you look through it through a lens of what is a positive belief, then you're already filtered out a whole segment of potential beliefs, right? Like, well, we just want to write down what do I think about trading? Right? Like it, well, without there being any judgment on it at all. What do I think about drinking? Without any kind of judgment at all. Well, I might think that I go out with my friends when I'm drinking, so it's great for socializing. Maybe I get to feel loose when I'm drinking. I forget about my problems when I'm drinking. Maybe I think that, I spend a lot of money when I'm drinking. Right? Like my bar tab is $100 a night, and I do it 5 times a week. Maybe I get hungover. Right? Like it could be anything like that. So as you just write out different things that are associated with it, try not to judge it. Try not to judge it. And another bit of advice too, I would suggest trying to write down as many as you can in one sitting. If you get stuck, then go out for a walk. Like, put some distance between that exercise and the next time that you're going to sit with it, because what can happen sometimes, like, you ever notice, like, well, when you go for a walk, or maybe you're in the shower and ideas will just come to you? You ever had that experience?
Of course. Like, I play guitar, so like you get like this riff in your head and you want to like run to your guitar, write it down before you forget it, kind of thing. Like, that happens all the time.
Right, exactly. That's your subconscious that's working and is feeding you these kind of ideas. So the same thing would apply to this kind of exercise here. You could set the intention that you want to identify as many beliefs as you can. You get stuck, great. Let's put some distance between this and the next time that I'm going to sit down. Go for a walk. Don't just intend to go for a nice walk. Observe the trees. Focus on your breathing. Maybe you walk past a duck pond or something like that, and then ideas will hit you. There's something else too to getting up and moving around as well. Tony Robbins speaks about this. Robin Sharma speaks about it. Brendan Burchard. I believe it, even Brett Steenbarger wrote about it in one of his books as well, about motion being linked to mindset and to the psychology. So the more that we're able to move, the more it facilitates these kinds of thinking, this kind of emotion.
Cool.
All right. So you've wrote out your beliefs, you've analyzed your beliefs, you're identifying what you're able to, what's serving you, what you can, what needs to be, what's not serving your belief, what's not helping you get closer to your goal, and whether or not you could let go of this belief that's not helping you get closer to your goal. You're going to want to repeat this for your money beliefs, and as far as money beliefs, we're already about a half an hour in, so we obviously can't go super deep on this right now. I've written an entire Mindset of Steel course about this where we go super deep on everything, but for right now, I'll say that understanding where your beliefs came from is very important. Whether it's from books, courses, YouTube, parents, friends, teachers, understanding where the belief came from will be helpful for you, because there'll be some beliefs that you have difficulty letting go of because of the source. You paid a lot of money for a certain course, and you later find out that, you know what? I want to trade in a different way, but this course is telling me that I should trade in this way. I don't want to, if I stop believing in what this course said, then that's X amount of time thrown away. Maybe you spent a year or two trying to learn this particular style. Maybe you sunk 10 grand into this. How many people go to school and they want to keep on, or they go to university, right? 4 years into university, sometimes more, and then they're trading on it, or they're going on this one path, and they don't want to switch because, well, the 50, 100 grand spent for all this time. No, there could be those kinds of reasons if for some people. It could be respect for a parent, right? Go back to Bob's story. He believed that he needed to work hard for money because that's something that his dad told him, and he respected his dad. And so he never thought about it in a different way. So if he had a belief that said, you know what? I don't want to disrespect my father, then it would have been even harder for him to let go of that belief. Because if he started to think that, oh, you know what? If I do anything contrary to what my father says, then that's disrespectful to him. That could have been a problem too. So repeat steps 1 through 5 for money beliefs. Next up, mapping the course. So now that you've fleshed out the majority of the hurdles, the mindset-related hurdles, picture yourself preparing for a race. The first thing that you would do if you're preparing for a race is that you would get out a course map, right? You would get out the course map, learn the distance, learn the terrain, learn the obstacles, and then next you would figure out, what is your training regimen going to be for this race? This is where you start to personalize and customize everything. Everyone in this room has the same end goal, or a very similar end goal. We all want to make money at the end of the day, right? So how we train the skill sets we acquire, the timing, how we execute, all that depends. That depends on us. That's something that is going to be individualized, customized. This is something else that we teach in our own program, but I'll give you the formula for what you need to get started now. In fact, another client story, I'll give you the story from Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan, there's actually many doctors that I've helped through the years. There's a number of doctors that are in the program right now. Some of the qualities of doctors across the board, they're very smart, they're very tenacious, they're very hardworking. They've got to be, right? And they've got to have this refusal to quit, because becoming a doctor isn't easy. 10 years of education between university, between going and studying and mentoring, and then having rotations and all these things. It takes a very long time to become a doctor. Dr. Dan's problem was that while he fit this mold of being very smart, being tenacious, hardworking, a refusal to quit, he didn't know the formula that I'm going to share with you now. And this led to his boom and bust cycle and a lot of stress. Formula is this. Very basic formula. Your strategy must meet each of these criteria, otherwise you're going to run into problems. Your strategy must match your beliefs, your goals, and your ability to execute. Your strategy needs to be right in the middle of this Venn diagram here. We already reviewed beliefs and goals. It's so important for that part to be up front, because that's what's going to your strategy intersects at those two. But a third thing that a lot of people forget about is their ability to execute, and that's part of what happened to Dr. Dan, why he struggled. You must be able to execute your strategy, and execute your strategy well. This sounds like it should be a given, but oftentimes it's overlooked. A day trading strategy that matches your beliefs and your goals, but that you can't execute well, is going to be worthless to you. In fact, a personal story, where when I was still working full time, I left the 9 to 5 about 4 or 5 years ago, and one of the things that became frustrating was that my level of ability in trading started to dramatically exceed what I was able to execute. Right, so I would start to see different swing trades. I would start to see day trades, all these different things, but I wasn't able to execute on a day trading strategy well, because I would be able to see it some days, enter the orders, be able to make money that way. Then another day, I would see the trade, execute it. Then all of a sudden, I get a phone call from the boss saying, "Hey, Mike, you need to come in to my office, or we need to have an emergency meeting." I'm in the middle of the trade. I can't. I've got to exit the trade. I can't let a day trade sit there and then go off for an hour. Who knows what this thing is going to do? I might be up a couple of hundred, a couple of thousand, and then all of a sudden come back to a huge loss. So great. Now I've got to exit this trade and then come back to it and then see this thing do whatever it did later on. Your strategy must match your ability to execute, and execute consistently. It has to match your beliefs. It has to match your goals. If it doesn't match all three of those things, then you start to get into trouble. So does that make sense? Is everybody following along?
Totally. This is exactly what I think the struggle is for everyone I for myself and everyone I talk to, it always comes down to how I see a lot of inconsistency in the way people trade. One day they're chasing one type of setup, another day they're chasing another type of setup, but they're kind of all over the place. And then in the end, they just consistently lose money because they're not consistent and they're not able, and it doesn't match who they are, and they're not even sure what goals they're trying to achieve. And no one takes the time to actually think about these things, and so I think it's why it's so important you're here talking to us today.
Right. So which part do you think people struggle with? Sometimes, yeah, it's interesting to hear what people think that they struggle with, and then it's also interesting to see which part they're actually struggling with. I'm curious, well, what part you hear people think that they're struggling with.
I think most people focus on execution because it's tangible. So they always think, oh, I have to succeed in my execution. So they're trying to execute all the time, but they don't even realize why they're executing the way they are. So I think most people will focus so much on execution, they don't realize the other two aspects of it. Like they don't even realize that they exist. Like I'm pretty sure there's people here that never even thought about this before. That maybe not on this call, but there's a lot of traders that I know and on Twitter or friends that I know that just never even think about this. I just talked to a guy today who said he bought something and just let it sit and had no idea how to sell it. You know, I was like, so he's not even executing, and it's like I never thought how to sell it. Like, well, what are you trying to achieve? He's like, I don't know. You know, so he just holds and hopes for something to happen. Maybe some divine intervention will come and tell him to sell at some point, but he just zero plan. You know.
Yeah, that I had a friend that had a strategy like that a long time ago, back in 2008 with Citigroup. Too big to fail.
Oh no.
Oh yes, too big to fail, and he bought it, and initially it went up. It went up about 10%. Felt good about that. Then for the next 2 years, he was climbing out of a 40-50% drawdown, and eventually it came back, and he sold close to break even. But in trading, we're either losing money or we're losing time. Right? That's 2 years where he could have sold out and made money doing something else.
Yeah, his money was all tied up, right? So it was like it was stuck doing nothing.
Yeah, so we need to actively manage risk if we're going to trade.
Absolutely.
A problem that some people have when if they're jumping from system to system, or when people are taking random trades, or if they've got a trading plan and then all of a sudden the plan flies out the window. It's a lack of belief in the system, a lack of conviction in the system. A lot of people use those words interchangeably. Part of the reason for that, or where does belief in a system come from? Part of it comes from experience. Do you believe that the system is going to get you to the goal that you have? Right? You could person might see that somebody tweeted something that a trade was good, right? Let's say Mark posted about a trade, right? Or somebody else that you follow posts a trade on Twitter, and just like, oh, that's a smart guy. I think I'll follow what this person's doing. I fell into that trap plenty when I was first starting out. And take the trade. This person thinks that it's good. That when you place the trade, that sounds like a good idea. A day in, a week in, a month in, and you start to forget, well, why did I even place this trade to begin with? Well, because Mark told me about it, or somebody else told me about it. If we don't start to understand why we're getting out of the trade, then that creates a problem. If we have a plan and we don't believe in the plan, like let's say that we just read let's say that you brought up Mark before, so let's continue to use Mark as the example. Let's say that you just read Mark's book. Maybe you took one of his courses, and you're like, all right, I've got everything all laid out here. I'm going to go and do this the exact same way that he laid out and do everything to the letter, right? Seems pretty reasonable. I did the same thing when I first started out with Can Slim and going through the different IBD workshops. Going to do the exact thing that they did. I struggled sitting with trading plans too, even though I had mapped everything out. I had the spreadsheets. I had all that stuff. Why is it so difficult to stick with it? Because you don't necessarily know that it's going to work yet because you don't have the experience, right? Like, it's just like when we start to learn to drive a car, right? You know that the gas makes the car go and that the brake makes it stop, but like you see people like guys that are starting to learn, they're like slamming on the brakes and they're like, you're very nervous. The reason why you're nervous is because you don't have the experience yet. And so there's all these different things in trading where we're starting to learn and gain the experience of what to do, how to do it, why to do it. Part of what helps get us unstuck, and one of the reasons why I think that what you're doing here, Mike, is so promising, and especially for yourself, like you built this spreadsheet that's going to help you analyze all your results. That's going to be great for. You need to track your results. You need to do that. You need to post analyze and then see like how can I continuously improve, and then it becomes a path of how do I continuously do better. That's part of what's going to build your belief in what it is that you're doing. Because if you've got the data and you say, okay, here's another example, a fairly recent example. I wanted to learn how I could improve my stop management at the beginning of a trade. So one of the ways that I trade, I look at the trade in 3 different phases. Are you guys familiar with chess? So in chess, there are 3 parts of the game. There's the open, there's the middle game, and then there's the end game. I look at trading very similarly. In the open, the way that I'm looking at trading is that's the time before I get my stop to break even. Right? There's still risk on the table. Once my risk is off the table, then we move from the open to the mid game. Once I'm profitable and I've locked in my average gain, then we move from the mid game to the end game, where we're just letting the rest of the profits run. How we manage a trade for the different phases of the game, the open, the mid, and the close, are going to be different. So I wanted to figure out, is there a way that I can improve my open? Right? Start to take risk off the table a bit more quickly. So the way that I figured that out was because I had, very similar to Mike here, tracking trades, I was able to go back and review all of my trades from the past year. And what I noticed was that whenever a trade would have these 3 things, whenever I would be able to move my stop to these 3 things, the trade would fail 97% of the time, right? So if I did these 3 things, it would get me out of a loser 97% of the time, and then there were like 3% of trades where it would trigger these rules and then continue to work. So 97% of the time, though, it would get me out of what would turn out to be a loser, and I would end up saving myself a lot of money in the process. Something something crazy, something like an additional between 20 to 30 R on the year. R is risk multiples. So the things that I looked at over my trading were to raise my stop below the 10 EMA, below a daily low, and below a whole number. A whole number or a half number. So let's say the trade is at $100, right? Or price is at $100, and it's time for me to raise my stop. What I would do is then say, okay, where's the 10 EMA? Let's say 10 EMA is at 95.13. Great. Where is the daily low? Daily low is at 95.40. Great. So given those two things, I know that I need to have all three of those boxes checked. So I could raise my stop to where? 94.90, because it's below the whole number, it's below the 10 EMA, and it's below that daily low. Every single time for all the trades from the prior year, 200 something trades, 97% of the time that was not violated in the open. So just keep on raising price, the stop aggressively in that way. I was able to take more risk off the table.
See.
Now, that's an example of a new belief that I started to acquire, or that I wanted to acquire, and I did acquire because I had a belief about journaling, and that journaling is something that's important and something that I should do consistently on every single trade, every single day, to be very detailed with it. That gave me I also had a belief about post-analysis, and I also had a belief that I can improve if I go and I research and I ask myself the right questions. So by having the framework and we also spoke about, and in fact, at the very beginning we spoke about different trading skills. In fact, it's actually the next slide. Successful trading looks like a wheel. There's all these different skills that are involved. At the center, it's mindset. Then there's all these other skills that are around the center, and they're all interwoven. Journaling, post-analysis, position sizing, all these different things are involved in the trading skill set. And so because I had developed skills in each of these other areas, in each of these different modalities, I was able to come up with a way to improve the open and have such a high success rate with this new rule. That doesn't mean that I'm winning 97% of my trades. No, that means that this rule was successful 97% of the time, meaning that it didn't, that I was better off by implementing this rule, if that makes sense.
So you validated your rules by doing a post analysis of your old trades. You're able to say, okay, these 3 points, I always have to put my stop below it, and 97% of the time, it's going to help me increase my return by reducing potential losses.
Right, exactly. And so and the difference between coming up with a rule that way, right? So going through all your trades, having a hypothesis that you're going to test, and then getting the results from that, that's a lot different than just picking up a book and saying, oh, well, so-and-so said that this is good. Great, I'm just going to adopt it and hope for the best. I used to think that way, that, oh, well, this person's a lot smarter than me. They're very experienced. I'm just going to do what they do. But when push comes to shove, you don't actually have that belief. You may have read about the belief, but it's the same thing like reading about push-ups and actually doing the push-ups. One is going to give you the result. The other one might give you the knowledge, but you're not going to have the result.
Right. Right.
And that's why I feel that journaling is an essential skill. That post-analysis is an essential skill. Learning how to test is an essential skill. So in testing, there's factor modeling, right? Like figuring out what somebody else did and building it out. Like, well, what made this person successful? There's back testing, where you want to see how a certain idea would have worked in the past. And then there's forward testing, taking this idea and testing it in real time right now. Now, there's lots of different ways to, so many different skills, and in developing each of the 8 core skills, that's something that will improve your trading, and it makes success in trading inevitable. But the first part, the most important part, is the axle that holds all the other skills together, and that is mindset. So I put together a free guide to help you with decoding your mind. They call it the Trading Mind Decoder. 9 questions that will help you unlock your potential. You could get it at marrowwealth.com/DMT. And we'll send it straight away to you. And that's it.
Thank you, Michael. This was an excellent talk. I really appreciate your wisdom and knowledge with your experience, being an independent trader for so long, and beating the market, like you said, for 12 years. It's really good to hear from people like you that have been through it, and that can guide us to our own success in the future. Because the next bull run is always going to be around the corner. I know everybody's having a hard time this year and even last year a little bit. So everyone's a little bit frustrated and beat up. But I can tell you one thing, guys: the biggest mistake I ever made was giving up in March of 2009. Because you all know March 2009 was the bottom, right? And I was so frustrated I gave up. And I keep hearing my friends, like, they're just getting so frustrated they want to quit. This is the worst time to quit. So take what Michael has taught you today and use it to your advantage to get through this and get ready for the next bull run, because it's always going to be just around the corner.
Yeah, even if it's not the time to be putting money to work, it's a time to study. It's a time to backtest. It's a time to increase your knowledge. Absolutely. Right? So there's always prep to be done. Well, what questions do you guys have?
Mr. Brown, Ryan, anything you want to ask on the line, or anyone else on the line?
Oh, let's see.
I think one question I would have, while the others are thinking, you said you became profitable, like, or you started beating the market like 12 years ago. What was that shift? Like, what I know you've went through this kind of mindset journey and you became profitable. What was that turning point for you, where you went from I'm struggling or I'm a mediocre trader to I'm beating the market consistently? Like what was that aha moment for you?
Yeah. I think you had asked me a similar question on Twitter the other day too. I'm glad that you brought it back up, because it's a really great question, and I would think of it like this. So let's say you've got a garden, right? And you want to plant a garden. You've got a new plant. You want to plant it in your garden. So the first thing that you're going to see is that, there's a bunch of weeds out there, right? So let's go and pull some of these weeds, make the land much better for planting new plants. So at first, you doing a lot of work and you're making a lot of progress right off the bat because you're doing all this stuff, like you're seeing what's there, you're ripping things out, and you're basically leveling the ground, making it great for new plants. So at first, there's a lot of progress. Next, you go to the store, you decide what you want to plant there. You buy all the different seeds for what you want in your garden. Maybe some tomatoes, some cucumbers, whatever. You buy all the different seeds and you plant them, and then you start watering them. And then you come out and then you water them some more, and then a day goes by, weeks go by, you water, you start to see little and all of a sudden the progress from the beginning, right? Like at first you were ripping out weeds, you were doing a lot. There was a lot of progress in the beginning. Then all of a sudden the progress is slow. Right? Now it's time for patience to just keep on watering, putting the right amount of water, the right amount of fertilizer, not overdoing it, and being patient while your crops grow. That's part of the challenge, the patience part, and then the consistency while you're waiting for the plants to grow.
So like don't get bored because the plants are taking long to sprout and start missing days to water it, or do something silly like, I don't know, whatever that would destroy your garden, right?
Right. So let's bring it back to trading. So what the equivalent now might be, you got into a great routine of okay, this is how I analyze the market's health. This is how I screen for stocks. These are the setups that I look for. I have this whole routine, and it served me great in 2020. Maybe it served you pretty well in 21. This year has been a bit different, and now you're starting to get a bit jaded at this point. Like it's been a while that we've been in a bear market. So it's just like, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna just take some time off. Maybe I'll come back, in June of next year. That's what I hear when things are gonna turn around. Let's say. It's that slacking off that would be the equivalent of, I'm not going to water my garden for 6 months. Right? Well, what's going to happen? You're going to be out of the, maybe God gives you some rain a couple of days here and there, but you're not going to have the same kind of garden that you would have otherwise. So you could jump back in when the market starts to turn and you start to see things popping off, but you're going to be late to the game. And what then also happens, since you've been out of the routine for so long, is that that's when FOMO tends to happen. Like, oh shit, like the market's popping off. I'm starting to see people on social media start to talk, and that leads to all kinds of problems. Another thing too, that one of the people, one of my clients, was telling me one of the best things that he did was he deleted all the apps off of his phone. Like he got rid of Twitter, he got rid of StockTwits, he got rid of all these things that weren't serving him towards his goal that we were talking about earlier. Right? Figured out what the goals were, got clarity on what his goals were. Assessed everything that he was doing, and so it's like, you know what, that while it's fun to talk on social media, it's actually not helping me get to my goal. Let me try to eliminate this. Maybe I'll come back to it later on. But he tried that for a few weeks, and then all of a sudden, like, life got easier.
That's kind of why I run this service. For example, part of it is the hobby. Is fun. It's great to work with people, but also it keeps me disciplined. Now I know every day I have to update my daily trading plan and do the charts, and I can't miss it because it's not only me that's expecting now; it's other people that's expecting it now. So it kind of keeps me disciplined, and it's kind of keeps me watering the garden at the same time every day, so to speak. Right?
Yeah, indeed.
All right.
All right. Well, hopefully this has been helpful for you guys.
That's been awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we can talk again one day.
Yeah, totally. Grab the Trading Mind Decoder, again, marawealth.com/DMT. And yeah, if you guys need to reach out for anything, all the contact info is on the site too.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael. Thanks for spending time with us, and yeah, have a great holiday, and happy holidays to everyone else as well. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Take
Take care,
care.
everybody. Have a great night.
Bye bye.